we go. Yeah. Hey guys, remember when I said, hey, I'll be back at like 8-ish? What about 8:30? What about 8:30? What if, what if it's 8:30 instead? Oh god, I hate my life. Okay, we're back. We're back for reals. Okay. Everything works now, hopefully. Let me just double check to see if everything is working properly. Oh god, oh my god. Yes, okay, everything's working properly. Good, 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 good. Oh god, okay. Infinite Void. Let's go back here. I already showed you guys the, what I had so far, so I'm not gonna go through that again. We're just doodling. We're just doodling. Hey, turn on. Stop. Don't stop. Thank you. Okay. So let's get started. So now that everything is pretty much done, like motion-wise, or at least keyframe-wise, because everything is done keyframe-wise, this stage really is just me, it really is just me drawing basically drawing every frame that I already have, but more tightly, more closer to how, like, it's going to look in the final, which, honestly, will probably be more, be the final. I'm not planning this to be very, like a finished animation or anything like that. This is probably just gonna be, like, it's just gonna be a quick rough. That's all I want it to be. Email says, this is more delayed than GTA 6. Literally. I really wish it was not. I really do. Here can be where the ear is. In the back of the skull. Okay. And this entire part's gonna be relatively easy. For the cloak, yeah, because I'm debating, there's going to be some drawings where I'll have to put a layer on top for the sake of, other movement. I think right now, yeah, no, I think the cloak right now can just stay how it is. Yeah. Not a fan of the nose here. I think I'll draw his eyes last. Actually, the horizon line would be, like, a bit higher. Yeah, like that. And this is a bit too high for my liking. Actually, here. And it would go down like that. Yeah. Okay. Here would be a sleeve. Alright, and for the other hand's a bit too big for my liking in this sketch thing. So make it a little bit smaller just to make it better. I don't know, don't really like how it looks. There's also like refining. Okay. And for the belt, since I kind of want this animation to be a bit like the horizon line being a little lower, because I usually only ever do with the horizon line like up, but I should really draw a little more with a lower horizon line. I don't know, I just saw somewhere that said it makes like shots a bit more cinematic. I don't know if it's true, but I'm trying it out. Okay, and what's this? Not bad, not bad. Not bad. And of course his eyes. Cause Robin's meant to be like a pretty cute character, so very round eyes. Even though he's canonically like well, I guess in this story he's probably like, I think he's probably like 23 or something in this story, actually. Yeah, he can still look cute then. he can still be cute. He's not that old. Okay, I need to lower his eyes. They're too high up. And I need to have him looking forward. And I need to have him looking more to the threat that's near him. Okay. Size down this eye just a little bit. And okay, just some wide eyes. Okay. And my ever famous line on the nose. If I can get it right. If I can get it right, oh my god. Maybe I just need to lower the nose a bit. Okay. Email says, this is not lore accurate. What do you mean it's not lore accurate? What does that mean? What does that mean? Forgot that I had it on. Okay. I think I'm gonna do his hair. Not last, but yeah, I guess I am gonna do his hair last. I don't know. And the feather would be... from here. Okay. Maybe I just draw him bald for now. I do like a hair layer on top. There's like a tiny part of me that wants to do that. But there's another part of me that's like, do I? I don't know. I don't know. But I do want to keep the shape of his head just so I don't lose it. So I think I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep him bald for a little bit, guys. Don't freak out. Actually, no, he's Robin, so he'd be green. Okay, this would be very similar. Now, hold on a second. I had him like a little injured in that original frame. I remember. I think I had like 3 lines here, 2 lines here, if I remember correctly. And then... oh, wait. Guess I'm on his arms. Does he have one on his bandages? Yes, he does. Some here on the bandages. The lower arm. Kind of like in the middle of his... and then some here. Any on the cloak? Do I want to put some on the cloak, though? I could put one here. And some here. Okay. But that's all I'm gonna put. I don't want to overwhelm it. No, I don't. Okay. So for this, I think I'm just gonna take his... you know, maybe I should draw his hair, actually. I was literally being like, oh, maybe I shouldn't draw his hair. No, actually, I think I will. Will it be a pain in the ass to figure out? Yes, but that was me. I did this to myself when I came up with this stupid little character design. Yeah. Okay. But I do still need to see his head for now. Like, his entire head. Because this is just the same. Yeah, no, I copied it. I'm gonna get rid of Guy, because he's gonna distract me. I need to map out, like, where his center is. So I can keep track of, like, okay, so the cloak can fall here. Like that. Like it could, like it could go like that. And the cloak here. This be a bit higher. Okay. Right. And okay. Okay, you wouldn't be able to see much of his sleeve. Okay. Alright, and I have... if I remember... Yeah, there's like one here. And the one up here would move here. And of course, his hand. Okay, and his bandages, of course. They're not super consistent. Nah, that's good enough, I guess. That's good enough for me. And, of course, the other arm. Wait, did I have any... Yeah, I did. Isn't the middle bandage kind of... If you squint. Okay, and... the other arm... Okay. And this hand feels way too small, actually. So I think I'm gonna size it up. I don't know, it just feels too small for me. It just does. Bam. Frame 2. Done. Actually, I'm gonna keep the center line there for now. Frame 2 done. It's gonna... I think this is gonna be a smear frame, actually. Yeah, no, this is just screaming smear frame to me. So, I think I'm gonna leave this here for now and immediately move to here. I'm not gonna lie. Because it just screams smear frame. So we're moving to here. Okay. So, Robbie, I'm gonna need your head. Not the entire thing, just the general shape of it. Thank you, my boy. It is very important. Here and... Okay. And just gonna move the nose a little bit. Whereas the wide eyes are like, oh shoot. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna do this, just so I can like map everything. And I think I can delete these lines. Oh, they're not terribly important. For his cloak, I do imagine his cloak kind of like jumps a little bit. Yeah, his cloak definitely jumps a little bit from the impact. So I think I'm gonna add like a frame or two, with his cloak falling back down. Deadbun says, falls out of the sky into the chat. Hello, welcome. So I'm gonna make the cloak kinda, as for now, as for right now, flare out a little bit before it settles itself. A little bit like that. Deadbun says hello. Hi, welcome. It's a bit more normal here. Deadbun says, what are you doing? I'm animating a little... I'm doing a really short animation with some characters that I've made based off this cut song from Epic the Musical. I don't know, I really like the cut song, and it made me think a lot of what these two characters are doing in my story, so I took like a little snippet of it and I want to animate it. So that's what I'm doing. It's not going to be like a fully colored animation. It's going to be a rough one at best. And right now I'm on the, well, at least for most of it, I'm in the tie down stage, which is basically just a sketch, like a re-sketch, but this time a lot more refined. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Here, I think it's a good part for sleeve, for the sleeve. Okay. Here as well. Okay, and thumb here. Deadbun says, ah, okay. Yep. I just figured, hey, why not I stream it as well? Although this stream is it's a bit late. Hopefully next week's stream is a little more, on time. Although it will probably be a Genshin stream. Because, or will it? Because the Fontaine event isn't out. And I have told people that I'm going to wait at least one patch for the Archon quest to see if Venti's voice actor returns. If she doesn't by next patch, that's cool. We're gonna play it, but as for now, I'm gonna wait. Because ain't no way I'm going to play what's probably one of the most important Archon quests that feature this boy and not have him talk. Deadbun says, it's not that late, it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's actually around the time where I start to wrap up the stream. I'm gonna make it go on for a little bit longer to compensate for me being late. Unfortunately. But, yeah. And there's like a scuff here. And there's also one here, right? Yeah. Oh, that's right. His... Go. And of course, his thing. Did I have anything on his arm? No, I did not. I didn't have anything on his arm. To scrunch up this hand a little bit more. Cora says hello. Hi, welcome. Sorry for being a little bit late. Yeah, that's gonna be already up like that. There we go. And I was sure I had one. Yep, I had one here. And on the shoulder. How's the animatic going? I think it's going pretty alright. At least for now. I'm on frame 3 of this. This one's definitely this stage, which I basically call the tie down stage. This is going to be one of the longer steps. Like I've already mentioned, I'm not doing any like cleaned up line art or coloring or anything. It's just going to stay in the rough stage. But it's still, I mean, it's still tedious. I'm still like redrawing every frame, just a lot more refined. And, oh yeah, his hat. I need to do his hat. I need to do his hat. It's not Robbie without his hat. It can't be. Well, I mean, it can be. Actually, he's without his hat for a while in the story. Like, in my design headcanon. But in his default design, in his default Greenwood design, he has his hat. Okay, I can remove that. As for his hair, I think this is one of the few times I think his hair is going to be in a separate layer. It's gonna be one of the few times I am going to put on a separate layer because there's going to be some, I think the official term is overlap. I think that's the official term. It's not going to be with all of them. Like these, like this, I literally just reused his head, so it's not going to have anything like, but like with here, his hair is going, I kind of want it to like move a little bit as he's like being hit by the tree. So it's going to move like a little bit independently from his face, so. Cora said, did he lose the hat at some point? Yes he does, but it's not like he dropped his hat somewhere and just never found it. Now this is it's not a spoiler per se, but it is an element in the story that I did. It's like completely my own, I added it. But it's supposed to be, well, it's not just the hat, it's some other things too. But it's supposed to be like a really big moment for him. But yes, he does lose his hat at some point in the story. Alright, yeah. Here I'm just gonna do his hair. It's gonna be a bit in his face right now, because again, the impact. Oops. Okay. Gonna make it just as long as here. It's gonna look a bit weird. There we go. Way more, like, coherent. So we got this, and let me just turn on the light thing. Yeah, and here it kind of recovers a little bit. So I need your head shape again. That's why I'm not going to remove the head shape for a while. Because I need it for these shots. Well, erase them is what I mean. this up a little bit. Okay. He does not look okay. He's fine, guys, I promise. He'll heal. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep him on his face for now. Just redo this top part. And yeah, no, lower it. Lower these. Okay. How is he looking? He's alright. He's looking okay. There's a chance I might have to shift his eyes around once I draw a guy. Once I draw him in, but as for now, I'm just gonna leave him like that. Just gonna leave him like this for now. And then... Okay. So here the cloak can go back to its normal state. There will be a bit of movement later, but as for now, I'm just gonna keep it in its relaxed state. We're not doing any in-betweens, not yet. We're not doing in-betweens just yet. I'm literally just redrawing everything, but more detailed, and then I'll do the in-betweens. I already did some in-betweens while in this, like, blobby phase, but I only really did it because the timing just felt wrong if I didn't put any in-betweens, but the idea is to keep the keyframes. That was my idea, to keep the keyframes and the breakdown, and when I do this, like, second pass is when I do the in-betweens, like full-on in-betweens. Okay, maybe not an in-between for, like, every single movement, but, like, just enough to get the idea. This is just meant to, I have to constantly remind myself, like, this is just a simple project. This is nothing major. Where was the bell? Okay. And I think I can add one here. Add a little line here.
The ones who care.
That's an ad.
The selfless sacrificer of
Haven't gotten an ad in a while.
break up pep talker. The queen who unites different friend groups. The bold leader when the night is young.
We'll move this a little up here.
Febreze. When you host, your bathroom can feel like a revolving door. Keep things fresh with Febreze Bathroom. It's an outlet-free air freshener that fights odors for 45 days. So even
All right. Get out of here.
you know your
Ah, it's one of these. Okay. Sure, Fontaine, sure. And I think I'm gonna move this down here. Email says, I return and the first thing I hear is an ad for Febreze. Yeah, there was an ad there was an ad for Febreze. Cora says, have you watched anything new recently? Not necessarily, and man, I really need to watch some new stuff. Every once in a while, I think about watching Jujutsu Kaisen, which, yeah, I know, I'm old, okay, okay, I'm not old, well, I am old, but I'm not that old, like, like, the anime is old is what I meant. Yeah, I know, it came out a million years ago, and everyone already watched it, but I, for some reason, haven't, and I don't know why, because I do want to watch it. Every once in a while, I'm like, man, I should watch Jujutsu Kaisen. And, oh, you want to know an even older anime that I'm like, I should watch? Mob Psycho 100. Deadass? The only thing I know about Mob Psycho 100 is that it's made by the same guy who did One Punch Man. It has some, like, crazy good animation. And there's this one guy named Reagan that a lot of people think is really hot. And I don't remember if he won the Tumblr Sexy Men competition or something around the time the Queen of England died. But unfortunately, I'm one of those people that, like, when I find a show I really like, I'm literally like that audio that's like, wow, well, this is my personality for the rest of my life. Like I like one thing and then I attach myself to that for a very, very long time, and it's hard for me to let go of it and move on to another thing. like I am still technically in my epic phase. You know, the phase that started back in January. We're 5 months in, and I'm still not over that damn musical. So, I did start watching Tangled the series because I've heard it's really good, and also the music slaps because it does. The music slaps in Tangled. Like, I think they got Alan Menken, where it's like, it's kind of crazy actually when you think about it. It's some crazy good music with some crazy good singers. The show itself is fine. It's cute. I do kind of wish it had a little more oomph to really, like, make those musical sequences, like, like, hit all the harder. Cora says Reagan did not win, unfortunately. Darn. Oh yeah, I watched Vinland Saga. Well, it's already been a while. It's been, like, quite a few months since I watched it, but hands down, like, one of the best shows I've ever seen with some of the best written characters I've ever seen, hands down. Like, Vinland Saga is so good. A lot of people aren't really big fans of season 2, and I kind of get that, but I honestly loved season 2. I thought it was something very needed for the characters. I do want to watch, for the live action sphere, which I know sounds crazy because I'm actually not super into live action at all. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who, like, I liked cartoons, and I never got over them. I never had that cartoons are for kids phase. I was always into them, like, always. So live action shows are actually kind of really hard for me to get into. Now, this is not stuff I have watched. This is stuff I want to watch. One of them is Catherine the Great. No, I think it's just called The Great. Yeah, it's just The Great. And I know nothing about it other than it's about Catherine the Great of Russia. And from what I've heard, it's a comedy, which I like. It immediately piqued my interest because let's be real here, guys. Let's be real here. We have way too many historical dramas that are like dark and dramatic and sad. Like, it's like if your show takes place in the past, it has to be the most doomery, gloomiest thing ever, and it's about like war and like sexism and abuses and all of that. And it's like, oh, don't get me wrong, the past was absolutely riddled with that. The present as well. But like, you know, people were still people, you know? People still had fun. People still messed around. People could still, you know, have fun, right? And so I think, like, we really should start making, like, period pieces with a bit more of a lighter spin, you know? You know? I know it's hard for many of you kids to believe, but yes, people in the 1800s smiled. People were capable of laughter. People were capable of having fun. And yeah. Cora says, no one ever talks about the absurd stuff in history, like the Emu War. Yes, oh my god, literally. No, there's so many just like weird situations that have happened throughout history that if it wasn't a historical event and I just told it to you out of context, you think it's so dumb. Like, for example, Alexander the Great basically had real life plot armor. Like, the amount of times this guy almost died and didn't is like to an absurd comical level. And then what killed him? The alcohol. Or at least I think it was. I think the alcohol killed him. I don't know. So that's one of the shows I do want to watch, like live action wise. Honestly, for the sole purpose of it being a historical show, but with a comedic spin. Literally, that's it. Because honestly, Catherine the Great herself was a bit of a comical figure. Well, I'm not saying that she's like a literal joke, she was a real person. But like, what I mean is that like, a lot of the stuff she did / wanted to do bordered on the, like, how do I put this? This girl took LARPing to the next level. And yeah, I do mean LARPing, as in live action roleplay. Like, like this girl seriously was like, guys, I am obsessed with Greek stuff. I am obsessed with Greek mythology, Greek styles, Greek people. And like, this girl literally wanted to like recreate ancient Greece. But the funny thing is that she lived, I don't think it was proper 1800s. I think it was 1700s. what I'm saying is that ancient Greece is gone. Ancient Greece has been gone. The people who, what is Greece at that time was the Byzantine Empire. You know, yeah, they're the same people, I guess, but they're like a completely different culture by that point. And she was like, hey, I want you all to dress in togas and recreate some like old Greek statues, and it's so funny. It's really funny. Like, this lady just like took LARPing to like she's like, I'm obsessed with this era of history. Not even era of history. I'm obsessed with this era of this location. I am queen. So, so I'm gonna do it. She never did, by the way. I was going to say unfortunately, like, but it was probably for the best. What I'm saying is that it was a thing she considered. It never went through, but it's so funny. Cora says LARPing has existed for years. Amazing. I mean, if you really think about it, LARPing is just acting. And, I mean, yeah. Okay, I need to. So, I don't know if the show is going to touch on her obsession with the Greeks. I don't know if the show's ever going to touch on that. I really hope it does, because that's like half the reason I find her interesting. Marie Antoinette was also super into LARPing. Yeah, Marie Antoinette was also really into LARPing. She was really, really into, well, what we would consider today cottagecore. Yeah, I'm just gonna add it. I'm gonna add his hair up here. Like, she had an entire fake town, which, before you say anything, I think Kim Kardashian created a fake town for her kids to play in, so it's not exactly the crazy, it's kind of normal among rich people, I guess. But Marie Antoinette created, well, it was less of a town and more like a village. She created a fake village full with like cottages and cattle and, like, you know, a bunch of farm animals, and her and her friends would go there, like, and basically pretend to be farmers in a way. And it sounds kind of weird to us now, but if you really think about it, like, I mean, they're playing, I guess. I mean, they're not, which again, it's weird to us in a sense because, you know, like, they're not children. But then again, like, you know, we in the modern day go to, like, Ren festivals, you know, like, what, like, if I ever travel to Europe, I really want to go to those historical reenactment places, and, like, if they allow it, like, wear some of the clothes and eat some of the food. And I feel like because she was so rich, she could do that, you know? She didn't have to go to a specific place that had these specific events to play her cottagecore dreams. She could just do it. And of course that goes into a whole discussion over, like, rich people making, like, playing poor and whatever the heck. But I honestly don't think it's that deep. A lot of people are like, wow, look at these rich people playing poor. And yeah, it's a little weird. But, like, at the same time, I can't help but it's just, like, especially in the era that Marie Antoinette lived in, Romanticism was, like, it was starting to become a thing. And Romanticism was kind of like a big movement of, well, it's kind of in the name, like, romanticizing everything. So it's like, yeah, farm life isn't glamorous, but, like, you think of it almost as glamorous, like you want to believe it's glamorous. And in some points, it is kind of glamorous. Sometimes. Cora says, oh yeah, an anime about Marie was apparently being made. Oh, is it? I know that they are remaking an anime that was, I think it was made in the 90s, but it takes place during I don't know if it's the French Revolution or if it's just, like, 1700s France. Something Versailles, I think it's called. I might have it wrong though. Don't quote me on that. Actually, I think there's like 2 animes that I know of that takes place in, like, that era of France. Okay, now his hair is going to look a little weird. Yeah, but that's one of the live action shows that I want to watch. And then another, this is like completely different. Well, maybe not completely, so because it is a comedy. It's the show called Search Party. Literally the only reason I want to watch it is because of a scene that I saw. It's like these characters having to cross the border, and then one of them says, "Oh yeah, by the way, my passport is fake." And the other friends are like, "Excuse me? What? That's a federal felony. We could be detained. What do you mean your passport is fake?" But the problem is that they can't turn around because they're like right at Border Patrol, and they start like freaking out. And then like one of the friends has an idea of like, okay, we don't know who this is. This is a hitchhiker, you know, in case anything were to happen, we do not know this person. And then like the main driver like calms everyone down right before they're about to talk to like the police officer. And that was it. That was the clip I saw. And it looked hilarious. And I was like, what is this show? This show seems hilarious. This show seems so funny. And it's apparently the show called like Search Party. And I know nothing about it other than it's about like 20 like people in their like mid-20s being bored with their like grinder life. So they decide to like go do an investigation. That's all I know. But that one clip was so funny to me that I'm like, I need to know what's up. Cora says, wait, I think I've seen that clip used for an animatic or something. That is, I saw it in a My Little Pony animatic. I know it sounds crazy, but there's this like one artist that really likes to take like funny audios and like animate ponies in front of them. And it's like, and it was from one of their videos that I saw that, and I'm like, this is hilarious. Where's this from? See, because the thing with, because my relationship with live action is so complicated. Because the only live action shows I've ever really gotten into are ones that like, they're basically like live action cartoons. And what I mean by that is that like, they're premises that could work for a cartoon. Like they're not, of course, because they're live action, but they could work for one. For example, Once Upon a Time was a live action show I was obsessed with years ago. But if I told you the plot of Once Upon a Time, okay, maybe you could think it's live action, it's just that crazy. But if I told you the basic synopsis, I guess, of Once Upon a Time, it sounds like something straight out of a cartoon. It just feels like it. And then I keep explaining the plot, and then you start being like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is definitely like a live action thing. But that was one of them. Another show I was really into was Merlin, the BBC show. And if you're wondering, is it because of the King Arthur? Yes, of course, duh. Because at the time I finished, well, I thought I finished my Arthur story. I thought I finished it. And because I didn't allow myself to watch any Arthurian media while I was writing that first draft. Okay, yeah, it just kind of shifts a little. I didn't allow myself, hold up. Okay. I didn't allow myself to watch any Arthurian media at the time, until, like, well, when I finished it, or at least I thought I finished it. And then I was like, okay, I can watch Merlin. And then I did. And I like it. I liked it a lot. It's a really fun show. It's a very fun, a bit crazy, a bit dumb sometimes, but it's a pretty fun, Arthurian show. And I dropped my pen. Got it. Is it a good representation of the King Arthur legend? Not in the slightest. And it's not like, oh, there's a couple inaccuracies here and there. No, like, I'm telling you, not that the legends have a specific canon, but there are elements that stick around. You know, there's a general, even though there's no strict canon, there's still a general story going on. Merlin does not follow that. Merlin does its own thing. Merlin does whatever the hell it wants. It does whatever the hell it wants, and it runs with it. And it makes the show like really unpredictable, at least for me. But at the same time, it also was just like the teeniest, tiniest bit frustrating, because it's like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the show, but because it deviates so much from the like general story of the legend, it got like just the tiniest bit frustrating to me sometimes. Particularly when it came to the relationship between Merlin and Arthur. Because in the show, Merlin is some kid in his, like, at the oldest 20s, at the youngest, I'd say, like, 15. Truly Arthurian fanfiction. Yeah, basically. He's at the oldest, like, 20s, youngest, like, 15. And Arthur is around that same age. And the show really puts a very strong emphasis on their, like, bond and their friendship, and, of course, for a big part of the fandom, like, as a ship. And in the context of the show, that's the whole point of the show. It is their relationship, however you want to interpret it. That is the main thing of the show. There is nothing wrong with that. But it kind of frustrated me just a little bit, because it's like, Merlin is Arthur's dad. Okay, like, not literally. He's not literally Arthur's dad. He's Arthur's, like, mentor, father figure, guide. Like, yeah. But, like, in basically every single version of the King Arthur legend since the early days, like, since the oldest of Arthurian tales that Merlin exists in, Merlin almost always takes either a parental role or a mentor role, like a role older than him, right? And so it's like Merlin is the older figure. He is the father figure. And so when they have a show that is like, okay guys, but like, what if? Forgive me for just being just like the tiniest bit like put off by that. Yeah. Because, like, again, like, in the context of the show, in the context of the show itself, nothing's wrong here. Nothing's wrong at all. It's the whole point of the show. But it's more like, you chose Merlin of all people. You chose Merlin, you know, the character that for like over 1,000 years has been pretty consistently portrayed as the mentor figure. He's going to be the one that's going to have all of the Tumblr girlies, like, want to kiss. You know what I mean? Chorus says the mentor to his hero. Yeah, that's what he is. And other interpretations, he's the father figure. Most of the time, he's both. Yeah. So that's a whole thing. Arthur is not an orphan in Merlin. He very much knows his heritage. He grew up as prince, which, it's one of the changes that is not that bad. It's one of the changes that is fine with me. It doesn't frustrate me too much. It doesn't frustrate me too much, although I do think it does take away from, like, at least to me, like, the general Arthurian narrative likes to play around with, like, the idea why Arthur is such a legendary king is because he was raised away from it. I'm not saying that it's like, oh, it ruins Arthur's character or anything. You know, this is clearly, like, a completely different story that they're trying to tell. But, yeah. There's dragons in the show. There's a lot of magic in the show, too. Which, I mean, there's a lot of magic in the Arthurian legend, too. But, like, actually, this is very interesting. So, it does depend on the version that you read. It heavily depends on the version that you read. But generally, the Arthurian legend tends to stick pretty like if it has magic, they keep it at, like, a minimum. And, okay, more accurately, it's not that they kept it at a minimum, and it's more like that minimum was a lot for the people at the time. It's just a minimum to us because we are used to, like, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, superheroes. We're like used to that. So when we don't see that level of magic, we tend to see it as something very small. But, people at the time didn't grow up with like Marvel movies, right? And so something as simple as like transforming into a bird was like that was a lot of magic back then. That was like, whoa. I remember speaking about this to a friend a while back, where I mentioned that a little, not misconception, but a little thing that people think of with the Arthurian legend is Excalibur, which is Arthur's sword. Because in a lot of modern media, people like to portray Excalibur as this like uber powerful magical sword that like, I don't know, it has like magical properties, or it could like raise the dead, or I'm trying to think what it does in the Fate version. I don't know, shoot a massive laser, I think is what it does in the Fate series. And so when I first started writing my King Arthur story, I assumed that was what Excalibur was. It was this like uber powerful magical sword that could like hack a million enemies at once. Noob says, what? Hello. That's what I thought. And then I actually started to like read these stories, and very quickly I realized that Excalibur itself, like, it's just kind of a good sword. Like, the most magical property consistently, the most consistent magical property that I could find with Excalibur is it was originally owned by the Lady of the Lake, and it never dulls. It never dulls, as in it stays sharp no matter how much you use it. And that was kind of it. that was pretty much it with Excalibur. It's just a really, really, really good sword that doesn't dull. And I don't know, it kind of like it didn't disappoint me. If anything, I found it very interesting. I found it very interesting that in a lot of modern media we like to portray this sword as like the most powerful thing known to man. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like a sword that doesn't dull is definitely powerful. It is 100%, that is definitely powerful. But like, again, to like our modern eyes, where we grow up with like Lord of the Rings style stuff, it kind of sounds a little lame, actually. But the thing is that like, for the people at the time, if you actually lived in the era where people still used swords, that would be powerful. That would be dangerous. Because, like, I've never touched a sword in my life. Okay, that's technically wrong. I've touched a machete. Is a machete a sword? I mean, I guess it is. I've never touched, like, a proper sword in my life. But, this is gonna sound so funny. I have seen Forged with Fire. Or is it Forged in Fire? I don't know. It was this show on Netflix. I watched it with my dad because it's 100% a dad show, and it's all about these, like, smiths, they're, like, in a smithing competition, trying to make historical swords. And, I don't know, my dad and I were really into it because, I mean, swords are cool, they just are. Not only that, but my grandfather was actually a smith, which is where the machetes come from. But, dropped a little bit of family lore in there. But anyway, so we were watching Forged in Fire, and there was one episode where they had to create a rapier from the 1800s. A rapier is basically like, it's those like super skinny swords. It's those really, really skinny ones from France, I think. And they had to do like a test to see like how good it was as an actual weapon. Now obviously they couldn't literally use it as an actual weapon like in the show, obviously. So instead they had like human puppets, human dummies made out of silicone, which would kind of sort of simulate like human skin and flesh, and yeah. not a perfect one-to-one replica, but it's meant to simulate it, to test to see just like how powerful this rapier was. And I was under the impression that because rapiers were so skinny and so flimsy, I always thought that rapiers were really weak. And you know what? They probably are. They probably are weak compared to the normal sword. I mentioned this because these people decapitated these dummies. They decapitated these dummies with these skinny ass swords. And that horrified me. that legit scared me. And I was sitting here like, okay, obviously this is not an actual human being with bones. This is obviously a dummy. But the fact that the dummy was still meant to replicate flesh. Maybe, it's not actually flesh, but it's still a replica. And they were still able to decapitate these things. This is a rapier. And then I got to thinking, oh my god, how are actual swords? Like actual swords that were used for war? Because, at least to my knowledge, rapiers were more so, like, for sport. And if a sword for sport and for self-defense, and if a sword for sport and self-defense could feasibly decapitate you, yeah, no, it's starting to make so much sense. All of those stories of people being beheaded by one sword start to make complete sense. Okay, what I am trying to say here is that imagine that you live in a world where the average sword, a sport sword, a sword made for sport, could kill you just like that. Imagine there being a sword specifically meant for war that is always sharp. It never gets dull, and it probably never rusts either. Like, no, that is powerful. That is scary, actually. Like, I can 100% imagine, yeah, to the medieval people, that is, like, swords in real life, in the medieval times, were, well, I was going to say weapons of mass destruction. I wouldn't go that far. But they are very, I mean, they're meant to kill. They're very, very dangerous weapons. So imagine having something that never goes bad. No, that's something that's insane. That's like having a tank that can always tank, a tank that never dents, with wheels that never come off. Like, that's scary, bro. Noob says, the thing that upsets me is that you have so many subs, yet 2 people are watching. Yeah, a lot of those subs, unfortunately, came from a time where I was very, very, very active, on YouTube. Not that I'm not active now, but once I entered college, because college was much more of a priority for me. And so I just kind of like, if you were around during my college days, which was not that long ago, like I finished it literally last year, this channel was dead. This channel was a desert. And I'm pretty sure because of that inactivity, a lot of people who were here left. I mean, I can't blame them, when somebody you watch just kind of disappears for the next 4 years. I get it. Noob also says, imagine getting a fresh cut by a sports sword. Literally. Cora says, tons of people would be fighting for that sword. Yeah, I can imagine that too. 'Cause, yeah. Okay, just kind of, moves a little bit. I at least want to finish this frame. Keep getting distracted. But yeah. So, yeah, no, actually, it does make a lot of sense when you actually think about it. Like, in the world that these people were living in, which is the medieval times, no, that is very, very powerful. But, of course, we don't live at that time anymore. We don't see swords on a daily basis unless it's in, Minecraft or something, and I think it's a mix of, we are far removed from what was an actual legit weapon. Not only are we far removed from that, but again, we are raised with high fantasy and Marvel movies and action films and stuff like that. So, a sword that never dulls kind of sounds boring to a lot of people now. And so I think for a lot of people, to keep Excalibur interesting, they add a lot of these really magical mechanics. Yeah. And not that that's bad. Not that that's bad at all, but I think it says, it's very interesting. It says so much about, like, how we consume media and how, like, different our perceptions change. And more importantly, how kind of removed how removed we are from, you know, what once was a legit weapon. You know, I think a lot of people were like me before I watched Forged in Fire, where it's like, you know, it's a weapon, but you don't really realize that it's a weapon. You know, that it's like, it is specifically made to kill you. Because a lot of people just think of it as big knife. And yeah, it is big knife, but that big knife was built and constructed and tested and perfected through trial and error, trial and error, to be the most effective at taking a life as it could possibly be. And I'm getting distracted again. Swords are cool. Swords are cool. Okay, because I do want to show like a little bit of his arm here. And this can still stay like that. But yeah. Also, little fun fact as well. So, for the Robin Hood stories, I don't think it's, said very, very often, but I think it's said often enough that it's become like a staple of Robin. But the exact bow he uses is an English longbow. Or, at the time that he lived in, a war bow. Yeah, he ain't just carrying around like your normal run-of-the-mills hunter bow. That is the equivalent of a sword, but like in bow form. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. You know, there's your average bow meant for hunting, and then there is what is literally called a war bow. I think one does just a little more damage than the other. just a little bit of a Robin Hood lore for you guys. It's not, I don't think it's ever something that's like super consistent in the Robin Hood stories, but it is the bow that is most often attributed to him. Whoop. Okay. I guess it would move like a little bit like this. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna finish this frame and then we're gonna cut the stream. A bit later than usual, but I also arrived later than usual, so win-win. Don't really like how that looks. Okay. And the arm. Yeah, let's just lift it up a little bit. I forgot the little thing that was here. Wasn't the previous one? Yeah, it was. Okay. Noob says, not to be mean, but you low-key fell off. I mean, I guess I did. trying to recuperate things. Cora says, I mean, when you get down to it, it is a weapon, so, wait, sorry. I mean, when you get down to it, a weapon is still a weapon, no matter what's its name. True, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, I think what it is that, like, you know, people are so far removed from these weapons, because, you know, like, they don't really use them like that anymore. And so it's like, you know, you obviously know it's a weapon, no duh. But you don't realize just how deadly it actually is until you, like, see it for yourself. Nope. Right, and here. Okay, the hand's just like a little too big, so I'm gonna size it down. Just a little bit too big. Oops. Darn. No. There we go. There we go, and the glove thing that I have on. The very, very inaccurate archer's glove. That made one of my friends go, then why don't you draw it like an actual archer's glove? And my answer to that is, see, when you draw a design, when you have a very specific design for that long, it becomes hard for you to part with it. That's my response. Okay, now his eyes. Probably be Lego more extended. And I already mentioned this, but once I start drawing Guy, I might have to shift his eyes a little bit, just so the focus stays. But as for now, I'm just gonna keep it like how it is. Okay, it's gonna... Nah. Gonna redo the nose. okay. Yeah, this is a little too big for my liking. Okay. And the hat. Chorus says, why does the background music sound kind of eerie, lol? I'm pretty sure this is underwater music in Fontaine. Let me check. Yeah, no, it is. I don't know. I think it's like, it's meant to sound serene, but maybe the sereneness adds a bit of a creepy vibe. This is Fontaine at the end of the day. As the most gilded nation Genshin has. Which is funny because it's straight up inspired by the Gilded Age. What I mean by this is that, like, it looks pretty and extravagant, but it's actually a hellhole in reality. Here, the feather. Right. And finally his hair. A valid point. It is Fontaine. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna move this one a bit more like that. Okay. The one thing that's bugging me constantly is the guidelines on the face, but I do want to keep this for when I do the in-betweens. I'm going to remove them when I do the in-betweens, but as for now, I'm going to keep them. Since the hair is covering all of this up, I think I'm going to remove this, because if not, that's going to bug me forever. Just going to remove... There we go. And again, I'm going to keep the head here. Again, for when I do in-betweens. It's just easier that way. Mark it. Okay. The head definitely grows an eye. That will annoy me. So I'm just gonna do some adjustments so that it doesn't annoy me as much. Okay. And there's... Okay, no, but the hair is on another layer, so it's fine. Yeah, okay. I think that's it. I think I'm done for today. Yeah. Like I said, like, once I'm at this stage of the animation, it really is just me redrawing all of the, like, super rough blobby, like, things that I have before I actually do the in-betweens and stuff. But, I mean, yeah, there's not much else to say. It's just redrawing that, then do the in-betweens, and then after that I could whip up like really quick sketches of a background, maybe slap in some color, and bada bing bada boom. Oh yeah, and some camera movement, that too. And then after that, bada bing bada boom. Just bask in it one more time. Whoa. Wait, actually, on that. No, okay, it's still good. It's still good. Still good. Yep, nope, that's it. Yeah. Whoop, 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 whoop. Can we get a play of it? Sure, yeah. The problem is that it, if I want a good play of it, then it'll have to be... Ew, get him out of here. It'll have to be, if I want a good play of it, then it'll have to be, with the blobs. But, yeah. Okay, but let me remove him first for now. But for now, I'm just gonna look at this a little bit one more time. Just to... Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna remove like the headlines and the cross guides once I do like the in-betweens, because by that point, I mean, that's why they're there, they're guidelines. But yeah, all right. Okay. Get out of here. Bring back my blob. You. Just the blob, sir. We just need a blob. And then we can get a nice little... There is 2 parts that haven't been, like, completed. The first part, I'm probably gonna do that last. And the last part is because it's like a still frame. So I'm probably, like... I mean, it's a still frame, so I'm probably going to just go straight into the sketch when I get there, because it's a still frame. Alrighty. Shut off the music for a hot second. Plop the little audio on, block everything so it's not distracting. Bada bing, bada boom, go.
Oh, come now, you don't really think we're different, we're one and the same. We're not the same. You don't get to have all the power and none of the blame. You're not saving any lives by killing an innocent boy. Then what in Olympus's name did you do in Troy? We're one and the same.
And I'm thinking for, like, the horn end is just going to be like a, thanks for watching. But I'll play it one more time.
Oh, come now, you don't really think we're different, we're one and the same. We're not the same. You don't get to have all the power and none of the blame. You're not saving any lives by killing an innocent boy. Then what in Olympus's name did you do in Troy? We're one and the same.
And there we go. Cora says, it's so nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Maybe I'll play it just like one more time and then that's it. That's it. It's getting late. It's like 10 already. I already went an hour late. Well, an hour more than I should have.
Oh, come now, you don't really think we're different, we're one and the same. We're not the same. You don't get to have all the power and none of the blame. You're not saving any lives by killing an innocent boy. Then what in Olympus's name did you do in Troy? We're one and the same.
And And yeah, now I'm thinking that after he says, what did you do in Troy? And it's just blank. That's the still frame that I was talking about. I basically want a still frame of Robbie, shooting at some people, let's put it. Because that's the whole point of the scene, right? That's the whole point of the scene. The whole point of the scene is Robbie's going all like, how dare you kill people? And Guy is basically like, you are saying that to me? Honey, like, your reputation precedes you. Your bloods ain't clean either, bro. Your bloods ain't, your hands, sorry. Your hands ain't clean either. What do you mean, bro? But, yeah, alright. Let's get to the infinite void for a hot second. Plop this on, plop the music back on. Was I accidentally... Alright. So, yeah, pretty chill stream. I don't know what else to say. We're chilling so far. Hopefully I won't have so many delays next week, but can't be certain because this week was full of life responsibilities that I had to take care of, which was the reason why I couldn't like stream properly. And it was also the reason why it was a little late. So, you know, it's obviously non-guarantee, but like, it is the schedule that I'm following for myself so that, you know, you guys have something consistent. Yeah, and I already mentioned this, but for the Genshin stuff, the new update finally came out. Everyone's talking about the new Archon quest. I am avoiding it as much as I possibly can, because as I've mentioned before, Venti's voice actress, her English one at least, well, his English one, I don't know, Venti's English voice actor has mentioned that she is going to try to come back for the next patch. Yeah, she's going to try to come back for the next patch. And so, and considering that, you know, this is a pretty big event, right? It's not even an event, this is an Archon quest, back to Mondstadt. There's some clearly big stuff is going on. And it, you know, Venti's involved, and Venti's my favorite character, and I would prefer to actually hear him, because I am too lazy to switch to another language, nor do I want to download the language pack. Now, of course, if by the next patch, Venti is still voiceless, that's fine. I'll play it. Yeah, that's fine. I'll play it. Because everything that's going on with the voice actors right now is such a big mess, and I don't want to be like one of those mean players who is just like, how dare you, like, bring Venti's voice back. I mean, I do want Venti's voice back, but like, I'm not gonna be mean about it either. I'm going to see if his VA can come back for the next patch, because at least she mentioned that is one thing that she wants to do. That's one of her goals. Yeah. So I am going to wait a little bit. I am going to wait for the next patch, so that we can play it. And of course the Fontaine event that's going on, because Fontaine characters are coming back, and I love Fontaine, obviously. Like, Fontaine is probably like my favorite nation. Cora says, I'm too used to the English voice. Same. A lot of people just play on Japanese. One thing I find funny is that a lot of people play in Japanese because it sounds like the original, and it's not. The Japanese is still dub. It's Chinese, but anyway. I have too much love for the English voices. Like, I'm too attached to them. And I also just don't feel like playing in another language. But like I said, you know, I'm going to wait to the next patch, to see if Venti's VA can come back. If she can't, as I mentioned, that's fine. We'll play it regardless. But as for now, I'm going to wait for the next patch. So in the meantime, we're doodling. We're doing some art. We're probably gonna be in this animation for a hot minute. And then after the animation, like, I don't know, doodle some other things. Yeah. I want to get better at painting backgrounds. So maybe that's another thing we can do when I eventually finish this. Or hey, maybe like I don't even finish it and the next patch arrives. Who knows? Anything can happen. Alright guys, that's it. I've been streaming for too long. Well, actually I haven't been streaming for too long, but it is getting late, especially for me. Yeah. Hopefully on Tuesday, if nothing gets in the way, of course, if something does happen, I always make a post saying that something happened. And yeah, we're just gonna be doing some more animating, doing some more doodling, hearing me fiddle around and getting frustrated when my programs don't work, because that's what y'all are here for. Alright. Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say. Yeah. See you Thursdays, guys. Tuesdays. See you next week. Man, like this is what I mean. It's getting too late. Like, I already flubbed my words. It's getting worse. All right, but for real. See you later, guys. Bye.